You had a session a couple weeks ago. You get out to Leavenworth, you drive over from Spokane. The weather's amazing, like basically first day of the season. You know, it's been kind of warm and smoky, and then all of a sudden, like temps. You start off your day in the morning by sending Madbush V12, and then you're trying to decide what to do next. And you go up to Dripwall, which is a newer V10 that's in vogue and popular right now. Almost flash it, do it second go. And then you end up driving over to Index, which is like an hour and a half drive. And you try Hagakure, which is this amazing, like all-time V12. And you session on that for 6 hours and then send it all in the same day. This is like a 10-hour climbing day, all said and done, which is just amazing. Like, what an epic day. Where did that day rank for you?
If you look at the pure, I guess, difficulty or grade-wise, that was probably the best climbing day I've ever had.
Okay.
I've had kind of a similar day before, like quite several years back. I was a projecting practitioner, and I had been for like 2 years, and I was really close, but just wasn't quite putting it together. And and I had a day where I came out, I did practitioner, and then I went out and did God is in the Details, and then I went out and did was it Real Imagination? I think it's called.
Wow.
And so that was like a kind of similar day, like that technically difficulty-wise, those were maybe ranked a little bit lower.
Well, 11, 11, 9, and this time was 12, 12, 10.
Yeah.
So, wow, you've leveled up a grade since that.
But especially
experience.
like, I mean, it felt similar that day for sure, where it was kind of like the peak of what I was maybe capable of. And I think practitioner and God is in the Details were the two hardest things I'd ever done. And I did them both in a day.
Wow.
So that was a similar day, I guess, in a way, but yeah, in general, it doesn't go that way. Like I think I told you, like I tend to be kind of a greedy boulderer. It's like good to have an attitude that's not like, oh, well, if I did this, like I need to go do this too or something. But I think I get a little bit that way where I'm sort of like I don't actually think it's greedy, but I think like if I climb something, it just makes me go like, oh man, like I'm climbing well right now. I need to take advantage of this.
Right.
Like, and I think that's really my attitude. And so I've had a few days like that where it's like I climb something and it goes pretty quick. And then I'm sort of like, all right, well, I just got to keep the ball rolling. I got to kind of keep this going. And so I'll jump on some other stuff. More often than not, it doesn't work out that way. It's like I might try other stuff and I just don't do it. And well, I mean, for that matter, yesterday was kind of an example of that a little bit where it's like everything I tried later in the day, it just kind of was like, yeah, this feels hard. I don't know. But
if you're watching this video, you're probably obsessed with trying to get better at climbing. I know the feeling. I've been there too. If you're serious about building world-class finger strength, I have a gift for you today. I'm giving away my free finger training PDF. It's called the Grinds Program. I developed this program over years of my own training experiments, as well as hundreds of interviews with top climbers and experts. This is the exact protocol that I used to go from below average finger strength to pulling world-class numbers and doing my first ever one-arm hang on a 20 mil edge. It's completely free. There's no catch. Link in the description below if you want to check it out. Back to the video.
Does this feel like a breakout year for you, a breakout season? Because we climbed yesterday. Same story. You know, you were driving over from Spokane. It had rained a lot over the weekend. And, I thought we were going to have to wait until today to go climbing. I thought things were going to take a while to dry out. And you text me in the morning when you were driving over and you're like, I'm about an hour out from Leavenworth. I'm just going to drive up and look at this and look at that and see if they're dry and I'll report back. And I was kind of taking my time anyway. One of the things was beautification, which you were looking at for my sake, because that's my project right now. And then you wanted to go look at Tornado Arete, which is a V12, which you wanted to do. And by the time I heard from you again, you'd already sent Tornado. And I was just like, damn, he's on one. He's like on a roll. 3 V12s in a 2-week span. Does this feel like a breakout year or like you're climbing at your hardest level ever? Or have you had seasons like this before?
yeah, I mean, I would say I'm definitely climbing at my hardest. Yeah, I mean, I started training back in January.
Like for the first time or?
No, so I've done some training off and on. I had a lot of injuries though, like not this year, but the couple of years prior. Seems like I was injured constantly, like some weird thing. I had like a pulled hamstring. I had like a A2 injury. I had a really bad sprained ankle that like was a year and a half ago, and it still bothers me right now. And so, yeah, it kind of felt like I kept trying to get into like kind of training, and I kept hurting myself, and then I just sort of lose sight and like not really, follow through with it. Quite a ways in the past, probably like 7 or 8 years ago, I did like kind of a Steve Bechtel training program, and I saw results from that for sure. But I didn't really stick to it super long. I did it for maybe like 6 months or so. And like that was probably the best climbing I ever had done prior to this year. But then shortly after that was when I started the business, and then that just kind of occupied a lot of my time and energy, and so I wasn't climbing as much. But yeah, this year definitely feels like a level up for me. Like I said, started training in January. Yeah, I pretty much just designed a program. I also just started eating way better, started drinking way less. Drinking more water, but less alcohol. Honestly, like right after the holidays, I just was like, I feel not good. And I like weighed myself, and I weighed quite a bit more than I'm used to weighing. And I just in general was like drinking a bit. Like my wife and I kind of got in the habit of just like, let's share a bottle of wine like every single night. And don't get me wrong, I do love wine, and I love sharing wine with my wife and watching a show or whatever. Yeah. But I was like, man, I don't need to be doing that. Like, I was like, it's one thing to be like, oh, on occasion I'll have a drink, but I'm like, I don't want to have this habit of like, we're going to drink every single night without fail, which is pretty much what we were doing. Also just like, as I've gotten older, I think probably around when I was like, maybe like 35 or 36, I just started noticing alcohol affecting me way more than it used to. Yeah. And so it just sucks because like I can drink, like 2 glasses of wine, and the next morning it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm hungover and like puking or something, but it's like I just don't feel good, don't feel motivated, not excited to go train and stuff. And so yeah, just kind of like started making some healthier choices, started training, and partway through the training, I noticed that I was like feeling really weak. It's like at first it felt really good, and I noticed even within a couple of weeks, like, oh, I'm climbing better than I was. And then I started feeling like pretty weak, and I talked to a few people, and they were like, well, how much protein are you eating? And I realized I was not eating very much protein. I wasn't eating actually very much, because I think I got in my mind that like I need to be lighter. And so I kind of just like wasn't eating tons and really wasn't eating a lot of protein. So then I just started eating a little more calories and in particular taking in a lot more protein. And within like a week, I like noticed like feeling way better. Wow. And so I've kind of stuck with that throughout this whole year. And I know on your podcast too, that's been a common thread, like upping your protein intake. And it's definitely had a big impact on the way I feel and my training and climbing as a whole.
It's probably the number one for nutrition, just as far as like a dead simple concept, like just centering every meal around protein. Yeah. It's that simple. It can be that simple. Makes a big difference for a lot of people. Yeah. With body composition, recovery, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed a big difference with that.
And there's less room for crap, like if you're not getting that, that's when you start craving cookies and processed bullshit, and you start meeting that protein need, and your body's just like, oh, we're actually okay, Yeah. I don't have to like use a bunch of willpower to not eat another piece of pizza at the brewery or whatever. It's exactly. Like, just kind of happens on its own. It's pretty profound if you haven't experienced it before. But I've talked about this so much. I'll leave it there. Just repeating myself.
Well, no, I found that to be very true though. Like, because at first
it's crazy, right?
Well, like the whole like 1 gram of protein per like pound of body weight like seems like very excessive. But when you actually kind of do it, and I would say in general, I probably don't quite hit that mark, but I try to get close-ish.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think I probably net out around like 0.75 most days, and then occasionally we'll be up towards 1. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it honestly feels like you got to eat a fair amount to get that much protein. And then when you do, it's like you don't really feel like, oh man, now I want to go snack on chips or cookies or something, because you're kind of like, I don't know, I actually feel kind of full. Like at first I actually felt like I was just like stuffing my face, like honestly. And I was just like, there's no way that I'm not going to just put on a bunch of weight. But I didn't put on any weight. I actually like lost a little bit of weight. And so then that kind of gave me the buy-in, I guess. And I was pretty sold and was like, okay, this seems to be effective. And I don't know, that's an interesting topic too, though. I know it's kind of like a little bit of a weird topic, but the whole like weight and climbing and like, you know, whether you should, how much you should change your body composition to climb hard. And I've had my own kind of also, so I don't think I ever had like an eating disorder per se, but I definitely got really caught up in this idea of like get as light as you possibly can to climb hard. And I think it spawned from starting off kind of heavy when I started climbing, and I dropped a little bit of weight and was like, well, I'll climb stronger, like really quick just from dropping a little weight. And then I sort of was like, well, how much weight can I drop and continue climbing stronger? And I had a fair amount of weight to drop. So I dropped probably to a pretty healthy weight and was climbing pretty well. But then I was just like, well, if I dropped, you know, that 30 pounds or whatever and climbed hard, then maybe I should drop another 15, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's when I started getting into like the realm of like, this is too light. It's like not necessarily healthy. And even though I climbed fairly well at a pretty light weight, which for me, like, well, just for reference, like I'm like 5'10" and a half, and I'm like typically now I'm not the lightest climber. I'm usually like 170 or so is like pretty standard like weight for me right now. But I got down to like around 155, which was like pretty light for me. And I did start noticing diminishing returns. I was like I would feel strong, but for like maybe 30 minutes. And then I was like, oh, I'm burnt out. Like it's like my body just didn't have enough going to fuel itself like for longer sessions. And so pretty quickly I realized like, this doesn't work. Like, yeah, it was great cutting weight to a degree, but eventually I hit a point where I was like, this doesn't feel very good. So then I actually kind of focused more on just like a little more training, just like, let's get a little stronger instead of just lighter. And I definitely have climbed, I mean, everything hard that I've climbed, really, I've climbed at like a much higher weight, like around 170. So